I've got some major breaking news, producer Evan. Major breaking news here on the program. Major. Paul has responded. My ongoing feud with Paul, lovely regular listener to the program, who he gets in contact with the show in one of the ways I don't promote very regularly. I obviously talk about the phone number. You can always call in at 480-864-1060. We joke that maybe you can't call because you're listening to the show at work. So you can always, if you're listening to the show, use the YouTube chat. But we also have an email feature. If you go onto the app, if you're listening on the app, there's a quick message button, and you can send us a message, and it sends to my email. And so that's where my feud, if we want to call it that, with Paul has played out over the last couple of days, because Paul jumped me for heaping too much praise on the Diamondbacks on the day they won their 5th straight game and won 7 of 8. And he went after me. And so it's all playful fun. I appreciate Paul listening. He's a regular listener of the program. He's given the show some very nice praise in the past. And so I love bantering with the audience. I love having fun. It's what we're supposed to do here. So Paul has responded. He has retorted. Okay. And I learned something about Paul Hill here today. And you know what? It makes me question where this feud's going to go from here. So this is what Paul says, quote, "Hey, Chris, just remember that it's a long season and the majority of teams get hot and cold. You know this. Teams can lose 10 games in a month and they'll still win 100. Try playing Beat the Streak on the MLB app if you want to feel frustrated. No player, quote, has it every day. Yeah, I'm a Dodgers fan, but still follow the Diamondbacks. Keep up the good work." First of all, Paul, thank you for the keep up the good work. You're a Dodgers fan? You're trolling me? You are jumping into the emails of this program to troll me, and you are a Dodgers fan? This feud, we're up to another level. This is John Cena, Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania yesterday, you and I, Paul. Let's go. We're throwing down. You're a Dodgers fan? You're coming at me here on a Tuesday, Monday? You're jumping me last week talking about a team winning 5 in a row? This feud, whole new level today.
I really understand Paul's last week comments.
It makes sense now.
Given that he's a Dodgers fan. It
makes sense. Now that we know he's a Dodgers fan and he's just trolling, it makes so much more sense. So, all right, Paul, now I see you put your cards on the table. I see where you're at. Didn't know that you were a Dodgers fan. Now that I know that you're a Dodgers fan, now that I know that that's the bias that you come into this with, it changes everything. It changes everything about our relationship now, you and I. So, by the way, if you want to get involved with the program, that's another way that you can do it. Just use the quick message feature on the KDUS AM 1060 app. And as long as you're not a Dodgers fan, I don't think we're going to be feuding the way that Paul and I are feuding. Shout out to you, Paul. Appreciate you listening. Speaking of the Diamondbacks, there is somebody who is making it a tough conversation. Oh, I think I have a drop for this. I have a drop for this. We have drops for moments like these. We are going to have some of those tough conversations. Today we have to have one of those conversations. Today. Because down in Reno, Jordan Lawlar is hitting .325 with a .423 on base percentage, a 1.049 OPS, and 5 home runs in 21 games. He hit one yesterday.
Bang.
He hit one yesterday that, you know what?
Bang.
It cleared everything down there in Reno. And so that leads us to a question of, do we need to have the Jordan Lawlar? We are going to have some of those tough conversations. Do we start that today? I don't know if we should. It feels too quick. I have said all along, all winter long, Jordan Lawlar is a second half conversation. It is, does this team need a spark? Is somebody in the first half not performing well and they need something offensively? They'll go to Jordan Lawlar. Again, remember, didn't play a whole lot last year. Missed. Producer Evan can check me. I don't know how many games he played last year, if any, with all of the injuries that he had in 2024. So he needs just reps. He needs at-bats. And so Reno always felt like the best place for him. But when a guy is hitting this well in the minor leagues and you have an offense that's down their second baseman right now in Ketel Marte, and we think we're kind of in the window when Ketel Marte could return here in the next week or two, you have your third baseman, where Jordan Lawlar probably is going to play moving forward, is struggling. Eugenio Suarez had a couple hits over the weekend, hit a home run in the first game of this series, but overall, still hitting below 200 for the season. He's struggling. And yet you have a 22-year-old minor league prospect that is sitting there. He's the top prospect in your system. Everybody is waiting for the moment that Jordan Lawlar can arrive and contribute to this team. And the guy's hitting .325, has hit 5 home runs in 21 games, and is absolutely crushing the ball. And he's almost forcing us to have the conversation. He's almost forcing us to once again do what we did last year and talk about the slow start that Eugenio Suarez is off to and wondering if there's a change that needs to be made there. It is we are going to have some of those tough conversations. I mean, this is a tough thing to talk about today because do you want to know the answer to this? At least where I stand, you can't call him up. Where's he going to play? Ketel Marte is going to be back at some point. There's your starting second baseman. Are you really going to bench Eugenio Suarez? Because you are only going to call up Jordan Lawlar. At least this is me if I'm in charge. I am only calling up Jordan Lawlar if he is going to be playing almost every single day, if not every single day. If I'm calling him up, I'm promoting him to the big league club. He's my everyday third baseman. He's my everyday second baseman. He is playing every single day. This isn't a guy that I'm calling up, and please, these two guys don't take offense. I'm not calling him up and having him be Tim Tawa. I'm not calling him up and having him be Garrett Hampson. Those are utility infielders that are being used in a pinch. Remember when Ketel Marte got hurt? We told everybody, this is not the Jordan Lawlar spot. This is only a series of weeks. You go with your depth. You go with Hampson. You call up Tim Tawa. You try to piece it together for a couple of weeks until Ketel Marte is back. You don't call up Jordan Lawlar to just send him back down. You call him up. You are basically calling him up for good. And so despite the fact that he's hitting 325 in Reno, the fact that he has a 1.049 OPS in 21 games, the fact that he's crushed 5 home runs, I don't have a spot for him right now. Where's he playing? When somebody can answer that question for me, then we can have a conversation about promoting Jordan Lawlar. If Ketel Marte was going to miss the remainder of the season, Jordan Lawlar, call him up today. He's playing well through the first 21 games. Boom, let's go. Ketel Marte is going to be back in 2 weeks.
We've talked about it. The reason he's in Triple A is to get consistent at bats. We don't think he's not ready. We think he needs to play every day. That's part of the growing process in baseball. Last year, you asked the question, he only played 23 games across 3 leagues, Double A, Triple A, and the Arizona Complex League. That's it. And so this year, he's already at 21 games. He's almost matched what he did last year. He needs to see at-bats. If you were going to call him up in Ketel Marte's absence, you were going to do it right away.
But again, you won't do that. You won't do that to a young player. Because then you run into this weird problem. What if he comes up and he puts up those type of numbers that he's putting up in Reno while filling in for Ketel Marte? You're going to send that kid down? You're going to take that kid out of the lineup when Ketel Marte comes back? That's why with Ketel Marte being shelved for just a little bit of time, you were never going to call up Jordan Lawlar. Jordan Lawlar comes up to this team. This is the reality, everybody. Jordan Lawlar comes up to this team in one of two scenarios. There is a major season-ending injury at either second, short, or third, or we're ready to be done with Eugenio Suarez. That's it. Those are the two pathways for Jordan Lawlar to be up here on this team. We are ready to talk about moving on from Eugenio Suarez or moving him into a bench role or moving him into a DH, doesn't play all the time, defensive replacement role, or somebody gets seriously hurt, and now I have to fill the entire second half of the season, and that's where Jordan Lawlar can get run. I am not calling him up to be a utility infielder. I'm not calling him up to play every 3 or 4 days and to be a pinch hitter off the bench. I'm not doing that with a 22-year-old kid. He gets more out of being in Reno and playing and hitting and putting up these numbers. And so I can't find the pathway. I can't find our way there right now because it's April 21st. I don't think we're ready to have the Eugenio Suarez conversation, are we?
No. You got to get this thing at least to June before you start having that conversation. But that is a good question. When does that conversation start? When do those struggles really become a concern?
And they will continue to get louder the longer that Jordan Lawlar continues to put up these types of numbers in Reno. If Lawlar continues to produce down in Triple A and Suarez continues to struggle, we're not getting to June.
No.
We might get to the middle of May and people are going to want to sound the alarm. There are people that want to sound the alarm right now about Eugenio Suarez with what Jordan Lawlar is doing in the minor leagues. So we get to the middle of May and things don't turn around. And again, Suarez had a couple of hits over the weekend, hit a home run in that first game against the Cubs. So perhaps he starts to turn it around and this conversation becomes a moot point and we can just go back to our original philosophy of, yeah, Lawlar might come up in the second half. But if he continues to struggle, If those struggles don't turn around and Lawlar continues to produce and swing a hot bat, you're going to force the issue. You're going to, if it continues to be
bang, bang, bang
for Jordan Lawlar down in Reno, then he's going to be up here. If we keep asking Eugenio Suarez, you got to do something. If those are the two conversations that we're having through the next 4 weeks, if it is May 21st and everything remains the same, Lawlar's we are going to have some of those tough conversations. Lawlar's hitting really well. Suarez is struggling. Yeah, we're going to have those tough conversations.